Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the second lesson in the reading practice videos, تدريبات في القراءة, with a special focus on silent letters. In this lesson, we'll be practicing reading اللام الشمسية, the sun lam, and اللام القمرية, the moon lam. Of course, only اللام الشمسية, the sun lam, is the silent letters, but we're going to practice reading sentences for both in order to distinguish clearly between them. I'm going to click on the first button to jump to the sentences that have اللام الشمسية. And by the way, the file available for download includes 8 sentences for each type. So if you decide to download it and practice on your own, inshallah, you'll have enough practice. Otherwise, I'm going to be just reading a selection in order to explain both types. This is the first example for اللام الشمسية group. But before going on to reading practice, I need to explain 2 main points. The first is التعريف in Arabic. التعريف is the Arabic definite article. It's basically an alif with a lam and a sukoon on top of this lam, which is always connected to the noun that follows it. An example to it here is the word الشمس, which is basically an L plus shams. So it means ash-shams, the sun. Here, this is an example for al-ta'rif, a defined noun. So al-ta'rif is basically an alif, a plain alif actually, which is always a hamzat wasl for this reason. So the reading rules that apply to hamzat al-wasl apply to this alif in all cases. The second letter lam, which carries a sukoon, is sometimes a sun lam and other times a moon lam. The question is here, why and when is it a sun or a moon lam? Let's start with why is it a moon lam. To understand why, we need to understand the phonetic system, which is consistent in all languages. This system says that if 2 sounds that follow each other are produced from a similar place, a similar position in the mouth, we call these articulation points, مخارج الحروف. So if these 2 sounds are produced from similar places in the mouth, what happens here is one of them may be simplified, merged, or actually dropped in pronunciation. This is in order to make the speech sound more natural. So once again, I'll say that if 2 sounds that are similar in position to each other, when you put them together, it's difficult pronouncing each one of them separately. So what happens if they are merged with each other? Or actually one of them is dropped and the focus becomes on the second. So this is why this happens. Why? And when, with the case with the lam, so when is it a sun lam? Is when the letter that follows it is close to it in the position in its mouth, in its articulation point. And these are, by the way, 14 letters. So lam is very close to 14 letters around it, and with another 14 that are far away from it. So when the letter that follows it is close to it in the articulation point, it's dropped and becomes silent. If any of the other 14 letters which are far away from it in articulation points, they are both pronounced separately, and so it's not a silent letter. We call it a moon lam in this case. If you want to know which of the 14 letters of the Arabic alphabet are sun letters and which are moon letters, you can download a sheet from our blog and practice on this. But for a reading tip, I will tell you it basically is that if a lam is followed by a letter which carries a shadda, this shadda here shows you that this is a sun letter. Shadda drawn specifically just to show you that this is a sun letter. And so this here is a sun lam, and so it's a silent lam. So what you need to do is just pay attention to the shadda, and reading becomes very simple. So if you notice here, this L is followed by a word that carries a shadda at the beginning of it. And this word here also is the same thing. It's a L, the Arabic definite article. The word that follows it starts with a shadda as well. So you can guess also this here is a sun lam. It's a silent lam. So let's go to reading this sentence. Now remember that the first and last word include sun letters. And so most probably the lam is a silent sun lam. If I click on the button below to color the sentence, what would happen here is that both lambs in the first and the last word are colored in light gray, which shows you they're silent, they're not pronounced. If I click on the second button below, it'll show you the types of silent letters in this sentence. So they're basically alif lam in each word. So al-ta'rif, the Arabic definite article, is always a hamzat wasl plus a probable sun lam, silent sun lam in it. And this is the case of this sentence. So we read it, try to read it before listening to the recording. So remember, the lam is silent here. So it becomes الشمس مشرقة في السماء. في السماء. So you see, I'm jumping the alif lam here. I'm not pronouncing it. If I want to listen to the recording, I'll click on the play button.
الشمس مشرقة في السماء.
Let's listen to the pronunciation again.
الشمس مشرقة في السماء.
So this way you train your eyes and ears together. This is one of the best ways to practice silent letters. Let's take a look at the second example for Lam al-Shamsiyya group. Now take a look at these words. This here is Al, the Arabic definite article, and the letter after it has a shadda on top of it. So this here definitely is a sun lam. The last word also carries a L, the definite article, and the letter after it also carries a shadda. So this here is also a sun lam. So how do we pronounce it? So let's color code this sentence by clicking the first button. It shows you that both lambs here are sun lambs, they're silent. And if you want to see the types, once again, alif lam is a hamzat wasl and a lam shamsiyya in this case of this sentence. If I want to hear the recording, I'll click on the play button.
الطفل يلعب في السيارة.
Again.
الطفل يلعب في السيارة.
You can listen to the pronunciation carefully and repeat after it. The following sentence also includes a sun lam, a silent sun lam. Why? Because L here is followed by a sin that has a shadda on top of it. The same thing with the last word. L is followed by a sheen with a shadda on top of it. So let's color code this. Both are sun lams. And to see the type, both include Hamzat Wasl and Lam al-Shamsiyya in this first and last noun in the sentence. Let's click the play icon.
السمك يسبح قرب الشاطئ.
Again.
السمك يسبح قرب الشاطئ.
So going back to the home page, we read a selection of sentences from a Lam al-Shamsiyya group, which is a silent letter. Now we'll read a group of sentences from a Lam al-Qamariyya group, which is not a silent letter. It's not a silent letter, but reading both of these types makes it easier to distinguish between them. The silent Lam al-Shamsiyya and the non-silent Lam al-Qamariyya. So we'll click on it. This is the first example in a Lam al-Qamariyya group of sentences, and it starts with the word al-Qamar. Al-Qamar. And so you'll notice the lam here is pronounced. It's not silent. It's pronounced. And this actually shows you the origin of the words of al-lam al-Qamariyya, al-lam al-Shamsiyya. Because al-lam al-Shamsiyya, the lam here is silent. So this lam was given this name. As for al-lam al-Qamariyya, the lam is not silent. So this lam was given this name. So it's just Ash-Shams al-Qamar to distinguish between these two lams. So اللام القمرية, which is not silent, will be read clearly and separately and not merged with the letter following it. If we want to read this sentence, it's obvious that the first word includes an alif lam and the last one an alif lam. Notice no shadda on the letter following it, so it's not a silent letter. If we want to color code it, so we click on the talween button, and there you are. These lams are not colored, so they're not silent. It's only this hamzat wasl towards the end that is silent. If we want to see the type, we click on the button below and no, and there you are. It's only hamzat al-wasl in the beginning and in the end of each of this sentence. And so there's basically only one silent letter in this sentence. I click on the play button to listen to the sentence.
القمر جميل هذا اليوم.
Again.
القمر جميل هذا اليوم.
So all the letters here were pronounced. This is the second example. So we're looking for the alif lam, which is in the second word and the last word. I want to color code this sentence, and there you are. Only the hamzat wasl is silent, the lam is not. To see the type, there you are. Okay, it's only hamzat al-wasl which is silent. Listen to the sentence by clicking on play.
يقرأ المعلم من الكتاب.
Again.
يقرأ المعلم من الكتاب.
Listen carefully to the sentence and repeat after him. The fourth sentence, now the first word has an L and so does the last word. So if you want to color code it, so only hamzat al-wasl towards the end is silent. To see the type, okay, no sun lam in this sentence. We want to listen to the sentence read.
القارب بجانب البحر.
Again.
القارب بجانب البحر.
We read a selection of sentences that include the silent lam al-shamsiyya and the non-silent lam al-qamariyya. You can download the original file from our blog for further practice. شكرا لحسن الاستماع.